Hello Cancer, and welcome to Embrace the Moon Tarot in your August 2017 reading. And I was sitting here shuffling before I hit record and kind of tapping into Cancer energy, and I feel like there's just so much that's going on. So there's some exhaustion that comes with it. Like there's been a lot of thinking and a lot of feeling, a lot of emotional and mental energy that's been happening since the last, well, no, I feel like it's probably mostly been just within the last couple weeks. So, you know, end of July, beginning of August, just a lot of energy, and it just was very much linked to emotional and mental. So tired to the point of not even really anticipating or thinking of, you don't even want to think about what's coming. You'd rather just rest if you could. You're hoping that the month to come will allow rest. Not so much sleep as much as just a reprieve from the constant state of feeling and thinking that you've kind of been undergoing recently. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down some cards and see what sort of energy you may come across in the month of August. Current energy, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, strength, potential obstacle, recent past, and potential future. So I'm going to start in the recent past, and I feel like the Eight of Swords kind of reflects pretty much what I had just stated regarding feeling that there was a lot that went on, and there's an exhaustion that's kind of come with it. And like I said, I feel like it was primarily towards the end of July, beginning of August, where most of this happened. So it's not that it's been a month of this sort of emotional and mental state. It's just been fairly recent, but it's been so much, and so much happened all at once that it feels like it's been going on for a while, even though it hasn't been. And with it, you just had this state of just feeling, I don't want to say trapped, because I don't feel that you necessarily felt trapped. You're a willing participant in thinking whatever you needed to think as you processed all of this that occurred in the last couple weeks, and feeling what you felt, you were processing it accordingly. But there was a sense of just being bound to it more than you wanted to be bound to it. Not so much that you were stuck or trapped, but being bound to it. And the more you processed it and the more you felt bound to it, the more you considered whether or not you're going to be able to unbind yourself. And I think that that's kind of leading into where you feel right now. You understood what was happening, or you may have come to a point where you understand what's happening, and you might not be completely clear of it, but you're acceptant of it. But in accepting of it, now there's a little bit of a fear that you're going to be tied to these thoughts and these perceptions and these emotional ties that occurred as a result of it. And that's what is leading you into your current energy. And the current energy we have is Seven of Wands, and I feel that you are at a place where you feel like you kind of have to stick up for yourself in some way or facet. Whatever it was that occurred, whatever that's been going down, you're at a point where you feel like you have to take a stand. And I think that that kind of ties in with feeling that even though you understood and you accept whatever transpired, you feel like you have to find a way to detach yourself from the parts of it that's going to come, has the potential of becoming unhealthy, or has the potential of dragging you down. So you're at a point where you feel like you have to take a stand. It doesn't mean that you can't be emotional tied to those who are involved with it. You can't be compassionate, because you still can, but you're at a point where you feel like you have to find out where the boundaries are, so that you know what you have to state is what acceptable and not what is not acceptable, so you can protect yourself. And so that's your current energy in relation to what happened recently and what's causing this feeling of fatigue that you're kind of experiencing. So physically, we have 5 of Wands, and I feel that this is reflective in the physical realm as far as the people that you're involved with, the people who are in your life, in your world, who make up your world. There's some chaos and there's been some fighting. And it's all been verbal, and some of it may not have been verbal. Some of it may have been things that weren't verbalized but have been assumed by you, by the other party or parties. I feel that this is not just 2 people that it's involved. It's not just you and one other person. There's a lot. I feel that there's a lot of facets to this chaos that's happening, and the people that is bound to this chaos that's happening. It's like a group of some sort in some way or facet. But there's been some fighting that's been going on, and it's the kind of fighting that you don't all, it's not physical, at least it hasn't been. And I don't feel that there's always been words spoken either. But there's some mental that comes along with it. Some of the things that have transpired has required you to think and process, and the fatigue that has been with trying to process and trying to figure out how you can still be caring and loving to whoever is involved or whatever is involved with this. And again, I think that goes back to that concept of trying to figure out what perimeters that you have to set so that you can stand up for yourself but still be compassionate. You feel that there's a part of you that still wants to be loving and caring to all or whatever is involved, but you're trying to figure out what it is that you have to do to lay down the ground rules so that you're not lost, so that you're not so compassionate that you're forgotten in the process. But yes, definitely right now there's a lot of fighting that's going on, and it's not physical, or at least it hasn't been. But it's been exhausting. And like I said, a lot of verbal arguing and then a lot of contemplation that's required afterwards to make sure, did you say anything incorrectly? Was this your fault or not? And trying to sift through and seeing how much of it is your fault, how much of it is the other person's fault, and how much of it is just really bad miscommunication. How much of it has been things were said but was misunderstood on both sides, and as a result of it you have you have this clash that's occurring, but you don't know how to communicate to get back out of it. Either way, it's something, and I feel that it's something that's going to continue for a little while, probably at least until the second full week, possibly into the third full week of August. It's definitely going to be something that's not going to just dissipate quickly. And even if you start to see things turn around towards the end of August, it's not going to be a quick fix. You're not going to suddenly have this huge momentum, clarity between you and these other parties, and suddenly everything's just going to go away like it never happened. The healing process after this is still going to take some time and take some work, but open communication, I feel, is going to be key. And just knowing what you accept and don't accept, knowing what your own perimeters are. Mentally, we have the Strength card, and I feel that this is just kind of automatically reflective of what I've just said. Just you knowing what your boundaries are, knowing what your perimeters are, knowing what you accept and not accept will allow you to set the groundwork and give you a good place of standing for when you do communicate. You'll be clearer of thought, clearer of spoken word when you are interacting with these people, and then also clearer of hearing, because sometimes we hear things and it's not exactly what's meant to be said, but it's how we interpret it once we hear it. So your strength is going to be mental, and in this chaos that you're experiencing, it's going to be mental, and how you manage to work through what's going on, how you manage to contemplate, consider, how you manage to control your thoughts with compassion while not losing yourself in the process. Emotionally, we have the Emperor card, and I feel that this is advice to you to find a good stronghold emotionally whenever you come in interaction with this chaos that's occurring. Whenever you come into interaction with this chaos that has been occurring, make sure you're at a good, stable place emotionally. If you're emotionally exhausted, emotionally drained, or you're still recovering from another emotional aspect that has been occurring that may not be related but still has had an impact on you, you don't want to be considering whatever it is that's causing this other turmoil that's taking up the bulk of the month and the bulk of your energy. You want to be very clear of head and very clear and pure of heart whenever you come in contact with whatever this chaos is, and it'll give you strength. The stronger your firm foundation is regarding your emotional status, the easier and the more strength you'll have regarding your mental status, and it's just going to really create this very strong foundation for you to set your own boundaries, knowing what you know is acceptable and knowing how to approach. And like I said, clear thought, clear mind, clear heart, clear ears, and hearing this other person's side of whatever it is. And then your interpretation of it, and hopefully the resolution will be much easier to come by and will match and come closer to what your boundaries and your perimeters are. So again, I feel that this Emperor card is in the emotional status for you for this month, because it's really letting you know you need to work on making sure that you feel strong emotionally when you're dealing with this chaos. And if you're not, just let it go. Don't think about it. Don't interact with it. Don't try to resolve it. Don't try to figure out what the resolution is. Just make sure that you've managed to come to a place where you're very strong emotionally whenever you're ready to handle or tackle or contemplate this particular chaos. Spiritually, your connections are Queen of Swords, and I feel that you're at a state of nurturing spiritual views, but I don't feel that this is something that is in the forefront. I feel that it's connected to the boundaries and perimeters that you are going to be making, what you perceive is justifiable for you to accept and not accept, because how you perceive yourself as a spiritual being. And I don't know that it's something that you've actually contemplated and put specifically into words even similar to that, if at all. But I do believe that your spiritual construct is connected in some ways of how you value and how you perceive yourself through the eyes of whoever you perceive to be your deity, to be your higher power. And the value that you perceive that deity or higher power sees you is how you're going to be able to start seeing your worth and creating that perimeter. And that seemed very, very wordy. I hope that made sense. But I think that this is just something that's going to be a fleeting thought. It's not something that you're going to sit and be trying to define specifically because of an epiphany that you had. It's just going to be this undertow that's going to take place. And like I said, it's just going to come down to, you're going to start to see yourself and your personal value through the eyes of how you perceive your higher power sees you in value. And from that, you can construct those boundaries and perimeters, because your worth is going to change. You're going to raise your own personal bar, because you're going to see yourself worthier, more worthy than you had perceived before as a result of this spiritual construct or spiritual shift. And like I said, this is just an undertow. I don't know that it's anything that you've ever put words to, and it's certainly not something that you're going to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to outline this thought process. It's nothing like that. It's just this undertow, and it's going to impact, and it's a positive thing. So whether you're aware of it before or now that you've seen this, you're aware of it, either has already happened. I feel like a lot of you are probably going to hear this and in hindsight be like, yeah, now that you mentioned it, I can see how that kind of fell together. But yeah, definitely not in the forefront, just kind of, and I feel like a lot of things that we experience spiritually is in the undertow. Not very many people actually specifically sit down and contemplate spirituality. And even when we do, it's just different aspects of our life when we come up against something that makes us question. So a lot of things that happen spiritually, it's just an undertow anyhow. It's just a result of things that are happening, and we make these tiny shifts, and that's definitely what I feel that your month of August is going to be with the Queen of Swords energy. Your strength for the month is the Hanged Man, and this is all about perception. It's about flipping yourself upside down and seeing it from a different point of view than what you're looking at it. Like I said, I feel that some of this chaos that has been occurring, there is definitely a prominent sense of miscommunication. I don't know whose part it's on, and that might be because some of you, it might be on the other parties, and then some of you, it might be because of how you must have misunderstood what was being said. But miscommunication seems to be a key word that keeps coming across very, very heavily. So whether you are the one who misunderstood or you're the one who's being misunderstood, it always is kind of nice to take it from the other person's point of view, because you can understand where they're coming from, and therefore the communication can be opened up a little bit better. So if they're misunderstanding you, if you see it from their point of view, you will be able to speak clearer and plainer and try to match from the perspective that they have. And if you're misunderstanding them, again, if you manage to flip yourself upside down and you see it from their point of view, you can reiterate what you have to say, but match it, help it to meet how they're perceiving it, how they're seeing it, how they're communicating. You can match their communication. So it's all about perspective. So your strength in getting through this is perspective. And if you, your strength is, you have the actual strength card right in the mind placement. So it all, I mean, this is so tied so strongly in the fact that it really is about when you are considering, contemplating, and thinking about this, when you are reviewing the conversations that you've had, when you're reviewing the conversations that you haven't had but you did have in your head regarding this, when you're reviewing the conversations you wish you had, no matter how it is, whatever you have that goes on in your head, the thoughts that run through your mind when you are considering what has transpired from the beginning and in the last couple even hours regarding the situation, your strength is going to be your perspective, just all the way around. And I feel that your power is going to lies in there. And the power is important in the sense that once you've regained your power and you understand the power that you have, you will be stronger regarding trying to set those boundaries so that you have a strong foothold to set on. You know what you want to stand up for regarding yourself, and you know that what you will accept and fight for, and what you will allow to be submissive. So definitely all in your mind this month, just really trying to get a clearer picture. And, if the fog starts to kind of get down or the chaos starts to kind of push out that clarity of thought and the strength, then you need to go back to the heart and make sure that you are emotionally strong, so that, again, you can have a clean slate to build your foundation on as far as clearing your thoughts and seeing perspective. Possible obstacle is the Ace of Cups. And the obstacle, and this has to do with emotional and having new beginnings emotionally. And I feel that the reason why this is an obstacle is because you have a problem with being too giving, too loving, too accepting. And although that sounds like that's not possible, I think what I mean by that is that you often do this as a sacrifice of yourself. So if you aren't at a strong place emotionally and you're not thinking clearly and you're not setting the strong boundaries that you should be setting, you're opening up the doorways of opening up yourself to being too compassionate at sacrificing yourself. Their boundaries aren't quite as clear, and you're allowing actions and reactions and scenarios that take from you under the guise of being compassionate towards the other person. So there's a fine line. There's a fine line between being compassionate towards somebody and still managing to be compassionate towards yourself. So the obstacle is this month regarding the Ace of Cups is making sure that whenever you are showing compassion to this other person or these other people, that you aren't forgetting to be compassionate to yourself. You're not forgetting to love yourself first. You're not forgetting to keep yourself whole first before being compassionate. Because if you are too compassionate and you give too much of yourself under the guise of being compassionate to these people, they're going to continue to chip away at what you're allowing them to chip away. And next thing you know, your state of compassion that you are giving to other people is less and less, because people have chipped away at it. And you've given them permission to do so. So that is your obstacle for this month. And I don't know, I think some of it may be regarding this particular situation, but I feel like there might be another situation that may arise that's going to require you to be compassionate about. And you have to be very mindful that you're not sacrificing compassion towards yourself. And if it is for those of you who it is a different scenario, separate from this chaos, the reason why it would be an obstacle is that you might be so floundered by all of this other stuff that's going on that you don't pay enough attention to this other little thing that creeps in, and so you just give unknowingly, unwittingly too much until it's too late to notice what you have done. So just always be, again, it goes back to keep your mind clear, perspective clear, keep your heart strong, make sure you're being compassionate and loving to yourself, and you're starting from that particular base with everything that you come in contact with throughout this month. And if you need to, occasionally step away so that you can clear the fog and try to figure out where your strong footing is supposed to be, then do so. Take the time to take care of yourself, to nurture yourself, so that you can have a better angle when you're trying to take on a different perspective, and you can do it from a place of a strong foothold and compassion towards yourself. So I feel that the end of the month card, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And I feel that this is completely unrelated in the sense that it's not directly tied to the entire reading. All of this is going to happen and going to transpire and vibrate as you move through the month of August. But no matter how this goes, the Wheel of Fortune, I feel, is going to be kind of coming across towards the end of the month. And it's just to let you know that everything comes in due time. Everything happens. Some of the things where you're at in your life is where you're meant to be. In the sense that don't get hung up on the would have, could have, should have. Don't get hung up on if I would have said this, done this, if I would have made these choices. Just reside in the fact that you are where you are. And it is what it is. And this is just how life turned out right now. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do about it? You have the power to continue turning the wheel or to turn it in a new direction once you come to the end of the month. And you have that power all the time. I mean, honestly, we do. You have that power to take control of your life all the time. But I think this is just kind of a card of encouragement as far as the end of the month is concerned. Not so much this is how you are, this is where you're going, or whatever. This is just kind of a means of encouraging to let you know that it's okay. Don't get bogged down with everything that's going on and allow it to stop you from living and enjoying life. Just keep going. One step at a time, keep going forward. One click at a time, keep turning that wheel. Keep living your life to the fullest. Keep being true to yourself. One step at a time will get you to where you desire to be, where you want to be. And you can change your mind. If you have a goal set in mind and you've decided you want to go in one specific direction, and you're already 30 steps into that direction, and you decide that you don't want to go there anymore, you want to take another direction, it's okay. You have that choice. So you turn left, turn right, turn around, whatever it takes. It's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing. Just don't be so hard on yourself. Each step you've taken with purpose, and you can change direction anytime you feel that you need to change direction. Just be true to yourself and be kind to yourself. So I just get a sense that you must be going to have a month that's going to really make you feel just as bogged down towards the end that it has at the beginning. And this is just letting you know it's okay. You're okay. Just keep turning the wheel. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Just keep moving forward and find ways to be happy. Make every day great by the choices that you make every single day. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a card to kind of summarize, kind of give you a little something to carry you through the month. I think maybe I'll ask for that because this feels like a very heavy reading. So kind of, you know, it'd be nice to give you a little word of encouragement that is aside from this concept of one step in front of the other, you know, a little bit of extra to add to that, to carry you through anytime you come up against any of these vibrations that make you feel like you're depleting your energy. So let's see what we can get for you to carry with you through the month of August. Eden, old and new order. And I'm going to pull this with it. Spirit, life's hero's journey. Or the hero's journey. Oh, sorry. So I feel that the Eden, old and new order is just kind of letting you know that merge of what was, what is, and what is come or what will be. And that concept of, you know, like I said, one step in front of the other. If you feel you want to change direction, you have that prerogative, you have that right. All you have to do is make the choice. But allowing it to merge instead of looking back at the old and regretting it and looking at the new, the possible or potential of new and being wistful about it. Recognize what the old has given you and realizing what you can do with the old to merge with the new as you move through all of this and come to the end of the month. And know that, you know, that each day is a new day. Each day is a new opportunity to take what you've had that was been given to you, what you've taken, and do something with that. Whether you want to continue the old or if you want to do something new with it. And the Spirit, the hero's journey, is just letting you know that this is your journey. Every decision you make is... I saw this show once. And on the show, there's one portion at the end where, and the show's called 13 Monkeys, if you're interested. I guess I should probably tell you. But there's one specific episode towards the end where, and it has to do with time travel. And this one person is speaking to a younger version of herself, and the younger version asked her, what's the right decision? And the older version, who had already lived out the life that she had chosen, says, the choice you make is the right choice. And I feel that's kind of the message you're getting right now. The choice you make is the right choice for today. And then if you decide tomorrow that you don't want to continue that choice, it's okay, you can change your mind. So don't get bogged down with, well, I don't have a choice. I gotta do this. I gotta deal with this. This is what's in my life now. You can impact that. You can change it. You can shift it. You can move it. You can walk away from it. You can take a different path in a different direction, or you can continue to work with it, whatever it may be. But this is your journey. This is your journey. You can take what you've had, you can take what's coming to you right now, and you can do what you need to do or what you desire to do to make it into whatever new life that you want. Whatever the newness is of tomorrow, you can mold from today and yesterday, and because this is your journey. So that's what I feel like I'm giving to you for this month. And I would encourage you, if you're inclined to wear these colors, maybe, on a day that you're feeling a little bit like things aren't quite going your way, or you need that little extra whatever, maybe wear one of these colors to kind of help to boost you, or be the encouragement that you need to get you through the end of the day, and hopefully have a wonderful August, and maybe begin on a whole new journey every day. through the month of August and then into September. All right, Cancer, that is all I have for you for today. I hope you have a wonderful August. Make it great, and hopefully I will see you in September.